sir, the recent crackdown on the Shiites in Zaria has drawn a lot of concerns by commentators, including just yesterday the Borno Elders Forum, who are saying, look, if this is not well managed, it could lead to another problem. They are actually saying that there are similarities between what is happening or what happened in Zaria and what happened much earlier with the Boko Haram insurgency, Mohammed Yusuf, and all of that narrative. And there's been this quiet from your end about the whole matter. And of course, the people of Zaria, a lot of them are sort of fed up with the conduct of the Shiites, who they felt were like a government within a government. But many, like the human rights groups, are saying that, look, this is an overkill. So many people killed over an incident of right of way. I don't know what you will have to say to the concerns being raised about this issue.
Let Mr. President answer that. Yeah, Mr. President, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, certainly I know something about it. I ought to. In fact, I must know something about it. When it happened, I was in touch with the governor of Kaduna State. You know, it happened in one state, in one of the 36 states. Interestingly, the president of Iran spoke to me about it. But I told him that as a government, we have a system. This accident happened in one of the cities. The governor has physically visited the area. We have a system of investigation. The military that was involved, too, has a tradition of investigation. And I, as the head of federal government, I have to wait for the official report before I can come out as head of the government, federal government, and make a statement. So I'm allowing the army and the Kaduna State government to submit their own reports of inquiry. Meanwhile, it doesn't mean that the police, the SSS, that are not directly involved, are not doing their own part of constitutional role of finding out really what actually happened.
So that means there would be the inquiry that some are calling for, a federal inquiry into the matter, because they are saying that some of these officers are involved. I mean, you can't ask the police maybe to investigate the army and all of that.
No, there's no way I can ask the police to investigate the army. I think that would be a misnomer. It wouldn't even happen the other way around. But all I know is that whether it is the police, the military, the civil authorities, whether an incident where lives were lost and property, there is a standard way of investigation. Depending on how serious it is, if it is very serious, a judicial inquiry may be the most acceptable thing for the society. And then people from all directions were asked to come and give evidence. You know.
So, Mr. President, how serious do you think this is for the nation in terms of our security and the future of the potential future that this could portend for us?
No, it's unfortunate and extremely serious. How can any group will create a state within a state? I don't want to speak about it in detail now. I better leave it until I receive the inquiries. But there are a number of clips I saw where some excited teenagers were virtually hitting the chests of generals, you know, putting roadblocks, burning vehicles, and pelting them with missiles.
As a general, did you feel infuriated?
Very much so, but I realized my position. I'm now a sitting duck. 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 I am 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 now a sitting duck.
Okay, but having said that, Mr. President, but do you think it is justifiable? Because in the media, we also saw in social media and traditional media a number of images of young people that were shot dead, and some of them, you just wonder. The number of deaths seem to be quite worrying.
No, you can't justify casualties on that scale. You can't justify it. But to be fair to both sides, you have to wait for the inquiry, and then you tell the public. A lot of them, you tell them what they know. For example, I understand people from the neighborhood in Zaria gave a press briefing in Kaduna, isn't it?
Yes, they did.
About 2 or 3 days ago. They called the press and they told them what agony they were going through in the last 5, 10 years, 15 years.
So for you, Mr. President, just to wrap this up very quickly then, who would you be expecting this report from in terms of inquiries? One, a lot of people expect that the federal government will have an independent inquiry. The soldiers who were said to have been attacked cannot do an inquiry that will be deemed as fair and balanced. The police, who's part of the security agencies of Nigeria, will not be expected to carry out an inquiry that civil society would accept as fair and balanced. Civil society as well might be deemed as maybe a bit partial and emotive about it. So where is the federal government's inquiry coming from?
I expect a sort of judicial inquiry by Kaduna State government, because it happened in Kaduna, in one of the cities, and it has been there for the last 20 years, from what I've been reading from your papers, for about 20 years. And they will occupy a federal highway, sometimes from Kano to Kaduna. This is what I heard, and fortunately for me, I have never been, in that mess. But a number of people that talk to me, for example, from Jaji to Kaduna, it will take them 2.5 hours or so. And then there were all sorts of allegations, which I would rather wait for the report.
Okay, so sorry, we just have to move this very quickly because they say about Wood. Yes, you will take the last question on.
I'm now a sitting duck.